Football fans keep asking the same question. Why does Ruben Amorim keep changing everything, every single week?
You made a couple of decisions at the start of the game that I'm sure, you know, if you'd have been stood here after a defeat, you'd have been criticised for. You brought Maguire in and you went with that mobile front three. Just tell us a bit more about both those decisions, because clearly they worked.
One game, Benjamin Sesko is the hero. The next, he's on the bench. One game, Harry Maguire commands the back three. The next, he's nowhere to be seen.
It's a lack of a manager. So I was expecting that. So it's nothing new. So I get used to that.
To the average fan, it looks like chaos, but to Amorim, it's a blueprint. This isn't randomness, it's calculated adaptability. And in this video, we're breaking down why Amorim's Manchester United doesn't follow the Premier League's tactical norms, why his strange rotation pattern is actually his greatest weapon, and how it's quietly turning United into the most unpredictable side in England. Every great manager in England preaches one golden idea: find your best 11. Stick with them. Build chemistry. Guardiola has his core. Klopp had his trusted 11 for years. Even Arteta keeps the same patterns over and over again. But Amorim, he tears that rule apart. For him, there's no best 11. There's only the right 11 for this opponent, this stadium, this moment in time. It's not rotation for rest, it's rotation for function. Against Brighton, the system breathes differently than it does against Liverpool. So why would he use the same players? To Amorim, doing that would be tactical suicide. Amorim's 3-4-3 looks simple on paper. 3 centre-backs, wing-backs, 2 in midfield, 3 up front. But beneath that surface, every role is modular. Each position can morph, depending on what the opponent gives. One week, the wing-backs play like full-backs. Next week, they play as inverted midfielders. One week, Bruno Fernandes presses high as a false 9. The next, he drops deep beside Casemiro to build play. Amorim's entire idea is that structure should never be static. The system is fixed, but the interpretation is fluid. That's why fans see constant changes. Not because he's confused, but because he's controlling the matchup. Think of Amorim as a chess grandmaster. He studies opponents not just to defend against them, but to attack their identity. When United play Liverpool, he knows Arne Slot's men live off pressing chaos. So Amorim responds with composure. He drops Sesko, who loves running in behind, and starts Cunha, a player who can receive under pressure, hold the ball, and release runners. He brings in Mount for energy and quick transitions, and Maguire for aerial dominance, anticipating Liverpool's long diagonal switches. But when Brighton come next, he flips it completely. He benches Maguire, too slow to handle Brighton's positional play. He reintroduces Yoro for pace and Sesko to stretch the high line. It's not inconsistency, it's customization. Every match is a new puzzle. Amorim never reuses the same solution twice. The Premier League worships stability, the belief that repetition builds rhythm. That chemistry comes from playing the same lineup every week. Amorim doesn't buy that. He trains adaptability like a muscle. In training, players don't just rehearse one pattern. They rehearse multiple versions of each scenario. If the wing-back presses, who covers? If the striker drops, who attacks the space? Everyone must know every role. It's demanding, it's mentally exhausting, but it builds a squad that can morph into any version of itself mid-match. That's why Amorim's United can shift from a 3-4-3 into a 3-2-5 or 4-2-4 without losing shape. It's tactical fluidity at a level the Premier League hasn't seen since peak Guardiola, but with a defensive edge. In most clubs, star players are untouchable. But under Amorim, no one is guaranteed a shirt. Even Bruno Fernandes, the captain, has sat out matches when Amorim needed more vertical speed or defensive work rate. To outsiders, that looks brutal. To Amorim, it's balance. His philosophy is simple. No player is bigger than the function they serve. This idea creates a culture of fearless competition. but also collective trust. Because every player knows, if I'm not playing, it's not punishment, it's purpose. That's why his squad rotation doesn't fracture morale, it fuels it. United no longer depend on stars, they depend on the system. Take Amorim's substitutions, they reveal everything.
And then Konate and Van Dijk, they like the confrontation. They like to fight. One of them goes to the ball, the other one make a second line. But you can sense that more or less all the transitions was Cunha. Cunha was so far from the centre backs that help us to take the ball.
Cunha isn't a backup striker. He's a control piece for press-heavy matches. Sesko isn't a rotation player. He's a space exploiter against teams with high defensive lines. Mount isn't out of form. He's a tempo shifter when United need to play through chaos.
To that, we just saw the game. We know that how important set pieces are, how important the guys that have more experience. Imagine that something happened in the beginning of the game against us. Harry Maguire has experience to help the other guys.
Even Maguire, often criticised, becomes vital when Amorim faces teams that go long or attack with height. Each player is a tool, and Amorim uses them like a craftsman, selecting exactly what the task requires. That's not strange, that's surgical.
Conscious that the questions for you in these interviews are often quite dramatic. If you lose, it's a disaster. If you win, it's a transformational moment. Nonetheless, was that perhaps the biggest win of your time as Manchester United manager?
Yeah, the spirit and the belief that if you have the spirit, you can win any game.
English football culture loves predictability. Fans want to know who starts. Pundits want to compare lineups. Amorim ruins all of that. His United are unpredictable by design. Opponents can't prepare patterns because the lineup changes with logic invisible to the outside world. To rival coaches, it's infuriating. To Amorim, it's control. He doesn't react to the Premier League's chaos, he creates it. And the result? Manchester United have become fearless. They can press with aggression, sit deep and counter, dominate possession, or absorb chaos. Every player understands every phase because Amorim's training doesn't build automatons, it builds thinkers. Football isn't a game of stars anymore. It's a game of systems, and systems that can adapt when everything. Amorim's tactics may look strange, but they're the future. A Manchester United that can become anything, anytime, anywhere, is a Manchester United that no one can prepare for. That's not chaos, that's evolution. This is Amorim's doctrine, and the Premier League has no idea how to stop it.